STL Sports Central, the Lou Information Station 590 AM, and the Too Many Men on the Mic podcast present the MidStates Club Hockey Association Game of the Week. Brought to you by Mattingly Lumber, Vantage Credit Union, Chicken and Pickle, and by the Watson Private Wealth Group at Stifel.
Hey, folks, you have Coach Ballant here with Too Many Men on the Mic, and I'm joined by four players from the Fort Zumwalt North Panthers as we preview their big Mid-States game of the week against an arch rival, Fort Zumwalt East Lions. Boys, how we doing here? I'm joined with Carson Spies, Sebastian Smith, Andrew Riggle, and Nolan Powers. Boys, how we doing here? How hyped are we for this game?
Oh, we're beyond excited. We're beyond excited. So hyped. Ready for a big game. Boys are going to come out strong, lay the hit, lay the body, get the puck, put it in the back of the net.
Well, you guys playing in that St. Charles division. It's just a great brand of hockey. It's physical. It's intense. I got to imagine that players on both teams have been playing together since they were young, especially if you came up through the St. Peter's organization. Talk to me a little bit about what the chatter's been like leading up to this game. Has there been any fun trash talking? You got any friends on that other team? Let's keep it PG, but let's see if we can give the audience something to smile about and laugh about.
Yeah, so I go to TPH, and I've got a couple buddies there, Grayson LaRose, Jack Figemeyer, and I'm also good friends with Chris Addison. And those boys, they're not ready for what's coming to them.
Oh, we're calling them out. I love it. What else? Anybody else?
Yeah, I've been playing with a bunch of those boys since I was young too. So it's just a good face off against some buddies.
Any chirps that are floating around on social media or in any text strings? And you guys got any current teammates on the other team from a club team?
Yeah, I played with Grayson LaRose and like maybe 10U, 11U.
We'll talk a little bit about as we look at this season. I know you guys have powered through some injuries. I was talking to your coach earlier. You've got 6 games left, starting with this game tomorrow night. Kind of like a mini season. What are some of the goals you guys have for yourselves, and how do you see the season, ending as you head into the playoffs for the Panthers?
Just to play the best we can in these final games that we got. We just want to work hard. Just want to be as ready as possible for playoffs, so that we can maybe make a run.
We got a really short bench to begin with, but we got 3 more players out. But that doesn't mean we can't win. We've won before with a short bench. Caden Smith's out for his gallbladder surgery. Speedy recovery for him. Speedy recovery. But I think we can do it.
Ouch, gallbladder surgery. Isn't that supposed to be something you get when you're like 60, like my age?
Yeah, sadly. Unfortunate at a young age, but it's all right.
Well, hey, tell me a little bit about, as we, you're coming off a win a couple games ago against another one of your rivals in Zumwalt West. You're going to have these guys almost back to back. You got them tomorrow, and then I think you got them in about 10 days after. How are you guys staying focused? When the puck drops, how are you going to, keep the game between the lines and try to stay out of the box and try and, kind of curtail those emotions with still playing on that edge? What are some things you guys are going to do?
We're just going to center as a team together, not let the negatives get us down. I mean, if we get scored on, oh, well, we're just going to come right back at them, score on them.
And, yeah, I would say it starts with warm-ups. We got to have a dialed-in warm-up. We got to get all the boys focused on the objective. And, just get ready to go.
I gotta imagine playing with the lead is going to be key. It's funny here. We've got Andrew Riggle on, and Andrew on the show today. My co-host interviewed the guys from Sport Zumwalt East, and I said, "Look, man, I think Andrew, going up and down your lineup and taking a look, I'm like, I think you're going to see these guys come out early. You guys are going to score early. I think that." You're going to see a guy like Riggle. And then, I also think, I see a guy like, some of your defensemen, maybe like a David Rinke, factoring in as you guys, have to shorten that bench, but you got to, generate offense from the back end as well as the front end. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, we all got to contribute to the play. It's really good when you do. It's how you win.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little about fun stuff here. So we've got, I talked to players from all over MidStates. Who's on Ox? Who's got the Ox cord in the locker room before the game? And what are you guys listening to?
Wow, we're listening to a variety of music right now. Currently, it's a little unique, but our pre-game go-to has been Geometry Dash theme music. It's a little out of the box, but it's worked for us for a little bit.
And who's typically on Ox? I mean, are you four, or is it somebody else?
We have this guy named Nathan Radkiss, I think his last name is. He's the guy that brings the speaker, so he gets aux.
There you go.
He's the boys pumping. He does.
That's excellent. Now, if you guys got to put the AirPods in, Carson, what are you listening to when you're trying to center yourself?
I'm listening to a little bit of smooth jazz. I watched this movie called Whiplash a couple months ago, and a couple of soundtracks from that movie really get me going.
You just became one of my favorite interviews. That's one of my best. That's one of my favorite movies in the last 10 years. Great movie. Sebastian, what about you?
I'm throwing on some old early 2000s rock.
Hey, folks, you have Coach Jared with Too Many Men on the mic here, and I'm joined by Coach Chandler Rogers from the Fort Zumwalt North Panthers. Coach, thanks for taking the time to talk about this game before the big game of the week here Friday. How you doing?
Good, yeah. Thanks for having me, Jared. Thanks for going well. Appreciate you.
Well, you've got a big grudge match first in the next couple weeks against the Zumwalt East. We won't even mention their names here, but talk a little bit about the season. We're winding down here. I know that it's probably been an up and down season for you, like a lot of teams. What's been the biggest positives so far specific to your player growth?
Yeah, it's a good question. We've had a challenging season if you're going to just look at it from a basis of wins and loss columns. But, if you're not at the games, you can't really see the compete that the kids put out. And when we average about 10 players a game on average showing up, and that's what we're rostering, it can be tough when we're going into the third period a little gassed. but still indicative of the score. They're trying their hardest and they're clawing their way to some wins, so that's always good to see. But that's been a lot of positive, just seeing them continue to show up, be positive after the fact. From a growth standpoint in terms of the play style, just really getting a lot better at kind of shifting their mindset of, hey, be here, and more of a lane system of how they get taught when they're a little bit younger, kind of shifting that to saying, hey, we can cycle and we can start to fill other lanes, and just because your defense doesn't mean your defense, and understanding that when we have the puck, we're on the attack as a team, not just, hey, I passed the puck up, I'm still on defense. That's not how the game works anymore. So seeing that click with them has been really good this year.
Yeah, those are some great points there, especially when you're talking about just the stamina throughout a game when you're shorthanded and you look across that bench. You're coming off a win against one of your other rivals, Zumwalt West here. And I'm imagining that the confidence that comes from that game should transition for your players into this game. And then obviously, yeah, learning how to play the game and being able to read and react. It sounds like you're talking about, whether you're a defenseman or a forward, not letting that be a constraint. Jump into the play if you're a defenseman and get your butt back on defense if you're a forward. Everybody, it's a 5-man unit. So that's awesome to hear. With 6 games remaining here, it's kind of like a mini season. Have you talked with your team about setting any goals for these 6 games and, starting with this, big game tomorrow night against East?
Yeah, I think, especially as we wind down the season and start thinking about playoffs, seeding is important, but I think just using these last 6 games to kind of really just test ourselves and our abilities and, okay, this is kind of our last chance to try things and improve a little bit more before the playoffs. So not too concerned about the outcomes. Obviously, we hate to lose, but we're going to do what we can to win, of course, but more so just kind of get set and use this as opportunities to be dialed in for the playoffs. That's what we're thinking.
Those are great points, and I think that's the right mindset to have. It's the end that's most important, not what's happening here on January 9th. But with that all in mind, this is the first of 2 games in the next couple weeks with East. Rivalry games are always intense in mid-states to begin with. A lot of these kids have probably played hockey growing up in the St. Peter's organization, and this is a Friday night. How do you keep your team focused leading up to the game?
Yeah, it's really going to start tonight at our practice to really get them, dialed in and, refocused, as we just had a game this past Monday and practice on Sunday. And, we got another game Saturday and then Tuesday. So
Money decisions aren't always easy. That's why Vantage delivers confidence, services, and support to reach your financial goals. With a Vantage checking account, you'll enjoy convenient account access with powerful digital banking and branches across the St. Louis metro. Plus, benefits like 30,000 no-fee ATMs nationwide, cell phone protection, roadside assistance, and shopping discounts. We put you first because Vantage is truly your credit union. Get to know us at vcu.com or a branch in your community. Membership eligibility required. Federally insured by NCUA.
Looking for a perfect spot after the big game? Head to Chicken and Pickle St. Charles. It's not one thing, it's everything. We've got it all. Watch parties on the big screen, family-friendly events, weekend brunch, and of course, pickleball for every age and skill level. Whether you're a hockey parent, player, coach, or just here for the fun, there's something for everyone at Chicken and Pickle. Eat, play, cheer, and connect all in one place. Visit us at Chicken and Pickle St. Charles, where it's not one thing, it's everything.
We love this game, and we noticed something missing. Youth hockey families needed a space that's real, supportive, and actually about their experience.
Not just the AAA highlight reel, we're talking B and C, A-level players, first-time hockey parents, and every kid grinding to get better.
We're here to share stories, learn from each other, and have a blast doing it.
No drama, no negativity, just love for the game.
We're growing the game from the ground up, one episode at a time.
Too many men on the mic. Hockey is more fun the better you get at it.
You want a backyard paradise next summer? Talk to Merrimack Pools and Outdoors now. No surprises, great design, straight pricing, and you could be swimming by Memorial Day. Hit SplashSTL.com. Merrimack Pools and Outdoors, turning big Griswold dreams into real St. Louis backyards for 25 years.
I'm here with Brian Lowry, head coach of the Fort Zumwalt East High School hockey program. Coach, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Coach, we're a little over halfway through the season of the Mid-States year, and I have to believe that this is a little bit of a rivalry game. You and another Fort Zumwalt program. Tell me how amped up are you and your players for this game?
Yeah. I'm very amped, considering the fact that I helped start the program from the ground floor when we became a new school back in 2007. So it kind of holds near and dear to my heart anytime we play a Fort Zumwalt school. It just there's always that rivalry there, and I know that the boys are very pumped up. They're asking about, is this for the Zumwalt Cup? They're chomping at the bit. After the last game, that's what they were ready to. They turned their heads towards this game, and they know it's big, not only just for this rivalry, but for us in the regular season.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a great tilt. Tell me what is different about your team this year versus last year, Brian.
Yeah, so as much as we all know that high school you only get 4 years, right? So we lost a good chunk of seniors, but the nice thing is we got some youth that came in. They're playing some big minutes, they're eating some clock, and they're just doing whatever we need them to do. And honestly, it's just the team's just kind of gelling. They all play for each other, and it's great, and it's kind of a hard thing to come into and know that you have different bodies on the ice, but it seems like they're gelling pretty well.
Well, that's outstanding. So tell me, what does your opponent do well that you guys are going to have to stop this game?
So obviously we look at stats right before each game, and we know that they have a couple players that put some good stats up there. So I know that two of their forwards are going to be buzzing around the ice all night. So our goal is to continue with our defensive zone and keep them outside on the perimeter, not give them any dangerous scoring opportunities. One of their players, their top goal scorer, has almost a point to 2 points per game. So really shutting him down will be a big point of our game, and then just making sure that we can get pucks in and then throw them on net.
Well, sounds like a great strategy, Coach. That's Brian Lowry, head coach of the Fort Zumwalt East High School hockey program. Coach, good luck this week.
Thank you.
This is Drew with Too Many Men on the Mic, and I am here with Isaac Seitz, one of Fort Zumwalt East High School's leaders. Isaac, how you doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. Isaac, tell our listeners what year you are in school and what position you play.
So I'm Isaac Seitz from Fort Zumwalt East, and I'm a 26, like a senior, and I play center.
Awesome. So tell me, we're a little bit over the midpoint of the Mid-States hockey season, but I have to believe you guys have got to be a little bit amped up for this game. What's the chatter been like amongst the locker room and getting ready for a big game like this?
We've been fired up. Ready to go. You know, we're nearing playoffs in a month around.
Yeah.
So we're just ready to finish season strong. Few strong games. Absolutely smoke North here on senior night.
Love it. Love it. So, aside from the rivalry part, tell me what's different about your team this year versus last year, Isaac.
Last year we were more of like a, you know, use the skills and get it done. This year we're get pucks in deep, get grinding, put the body on, and put pucks on net.
Well, so I have to imagine you probably know a couple kids on North. And, if so, I'm going to give you an opportunity. You want to put a chirp out there?
Hey, Caden Smith, keep your head up, buddy.
There you go. I love it. Isaac, for a game like this, tell the listeners, what's your pregame meal and what's your pregame song? What do you listen to get you amped up for a game like this?
Ooh, pregame meal. You got to go with some pasta, some just some spaghetti or some. I don't know. We have always pasta pregame, any kind, and then pregame song. Let's go with gotta go Mr. Brightside, right?
There you go. So tell me what North does good. What's the strength of theirs? What do you got to plan for and to counter some of North's strengths?
They got a few goal scores, so just got to shut those guys down and put shots on, get in front of their goalie, and just shoot as much as possible.
Sounds like a good strategy. That is Isaac Seitz, one of the leaders of the Fort Zumwalt East High School hockey team. Isaac, good luck this week.
Thank you, Drew.
Thank you.
Money decisions aren't always easy. That's why Vantage delivers confidence, services, and support to reach your financial goals. With a Vantage checking account, you'll enjoy convenient account access with powerful digital banking and branches across the St. Louis metro. Plus, benefits like 30,000 no-fee ATMs nationwide, cell phone protection, roadside assistance, and shopping discounts. We put you first because Vantage is truly your credit union. Get to know us at vcu.com or a branch in your community. Membership eligibility required. Federally insured by NCUA.
Looking for a perfect spot after the big game? Head to Chicken and Pickle St. Charles. It's not one thing, it's everything. We've got it all. Watch parties on the big screen, family-friendly events, weekend brunch, and of course, pickleball for every age and skill level. Whether you're a hockey parent, player, coach, or just here for the fun, there's something for everyone at Chicken and Pickle. Eat, play, cheer, and connect all in one place. Visit us at Chicken and Pickle St. Charles, where it's not one thing, it's everything.
We love this game, and we noticed something missing. Youth hockey families needed a space that's real, supportive, and actually about their experience.
Not just the AAA highlight reel, we're talking B and C, A-level players, first-time hockey parents, and every kid grinding to get better.
We're here to share stories, learn from each other, and have a blast doing it.
No drama, no negativity, just love for the game.
We're growing the game from the ground up, one episode at a time.
Too many men on the mic. Hockey is more fun the better you get at it.
You want a backyard paradise next summer? Talk to Merrimack Pools and Outdoors now. No surprises, great design, straight pricing, and you could be swimming by Memorial Day. Hit SplashSTL.com. Merrimack Pools and Outdoors, turning big Griswold dreams into real St. Louis backyards for 25 years.
With the Fort Zumwalt East head coach Brian Lowry, as well as senior Isaac Seitz. It is senior night here at the St. Peter's Recplex, and the Lions' 6 seniors just got honored here on the ice. Ethan Hannaford, Hunter Mulholland for the Mid-States Association Game of the Week. And, well, Hunter, obviously it's always cool to see the seniors get honored for their contributions to a program, to a team, and they're certainly going to miss these guys once they're gone.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to be losing at the end of this season. You're going to be losing Isaac Seitz, who we heard from in that interview with Drew Acree. He's a leader. He's the captain of the team. He got a big roar from the crowd. He also threw out a nice, solid chirp that I thought was funny in that interview, telling one of his opponents to keep his head up, as well as something that, I'm going to say it. I wish the Blues did more. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Shoot that puck, funnel the puck to the net, get your opportunities, get them early, get a lead, build a lead with a short bench that Zumwalt North is going to have. We were counting during the break. Looks like they're going to have 9 skaters and 2 goalies, and they're not going to have Carson Spies tonight. So very short bench, missing your leading point scorer for the Jaguars. Very important. Panthers. Panthers.
You're good. That is a huge loss, not having Spies in his 11 games played this year. Leading goal scorer by far with 13, 9 assists, 22 points in total. Their next leading point scorer is Andrew Riggle, who is dressed tonight. But we talked earlier in the pregame about how this team has had their struggles. They've had their challenges, averaging only about 10 or so guys dressed per night. Tonight they have 9 plus 2 goaltenders. It feels really more like 7 when you don't have a guy like Spies with the impact he has when he's out there on the ice.
Well, yeah, and with the impact that Spies brings, it also opened up Riggle to score those points and to get those 8 assists that is second on the team only to Spies, and the 6 goals that are second on the team, again, only to Spies. It opened him the opportunities because teams were so focused on him that Riggle was able to kind of slip in the cracks and find a way. Tonight, he's going to be the guy. He's going to be the one that if Zumwalt North is going to pull this off, he's going to be the one leading them tonight. I expect him to have a huge night if the Panthers are able to pull this off.
We're about 90 seconds away from puck drop here in the Mid-States Club Hockey Association Game of the Week. Ethan Hannaford, Hunter Mulholland, you are listening on the Lou Information Station, and we're appreciative that you are tuned in tonight. Fort Zumwalt North, 2-12 on the year, just 4 points in play. They are 5th, that is last in the St. Charles East Division. The 2 wins coming against Francis Howell Central back on December 6th, and their most recent victory came against Fort Zumwalt West on December 27th, just a couple of days after Christmas. They have 6 games remaining, and tonight is their first of the season against these rivals. They weren't even willing to say the opponents' names in the pregame show when we were listening to the players talk about the opposing teams. They'll play again here in a couple of weeks on the 23rd as well. So first time these two are seeing each other this year. And, it's easy when you look at a team like Fort Zumwalt North, the lack of numbers, the struggles they've had, and when you compare it to Fort Zumwalt East, a little more balanced, I would say, it's really easy to look and say, well, you kind of have an idea of how this one's going to go. But it's important to remember this is a rivalry game, and you never know what you can expect in rivalry games. So we'll have to just wait and see how these two teams play on the ice tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said earlier in the show, we saw a rivalry game last week between Parkway Central and Parkway South. Parkway South, 1 win on the season, comes out and pulls off the upset over a really solid Parkway Central team. So you never really know what you're going to get in these rivalry games. That intensity just brings it up a little bit more. And while Ethan was talking, I had my eyes on the ice. I was watching something that looked a little entertaining and maybe a story to watch. If you're watching on YouTube, you probably saw it because the camera's on dead center ice. A Zumwalt East player was skating by the red line with the puck, and a Zumwalt North player came over and stole it, shot on his own net. So, and there was a little conversation with the referees after that. So maybe a little pregame intensity, a little pregame fire being added.
Both teams standing around their goaltenders on each of their respective sides, set to get underway here in just a moment. Fort Zumwalt North in the Minnesota North Stars style uniforms with the green jerseys, green pants with the yellow, black, and white accents on the other side, similar to the local collegiate team, the Linwood Lions look here with the black, white, and gold for Fort Zumwalt East, and well, they are the Lions, so that is fitting. The big E across the chest for East.
We're getting set to get underway. The officials are talking. We're going to skate up for the first faceoff.
Fort Zumwalt North, coached by Chandler Rogers, assisted by Zach Jacobs. For East, Brian Lowry, assisted by William Hansen and Joe Rupp. We are ready to go. Quentin Gentile in the faceoff circle for Fort Zumwalt East, and on the other side, it's Christopher Hunt. The Lions win it, and they have it in their own zone, and they give it back to North immediately. Xander Jordan has it in the neutral zone, loses it, and now entering into the zone with a quick shot on is Ryan Pheasant into the glove of the goaltender, Jackson Duello, who's making his 6th start of the night on the year. It's been a rough go, 1-4, allowing 7.27 goals a game, Hunter.
Yeah, not a great average there for the North goaltender. And like they said in the pregame show, shots. Got to shoot the puck to win.
LaRose tries finding a forward, but turns it over, and now Powers is going to chip this one in. Blocker save made by Austin Davenport, the senior goaltender for Fort Zumwalt East. The Panthers still have it in their offensive zone. They chip it behind the goal where LaRose is going to try to get this one into the neutral zone. Nice job there by Turnbow. He keeps it in the offensive zone. It's given right back, though. LaRose with it, carrying it up the near side into the neutral zone where he has a man ahead. That's Jack Figemeyer. Shoots and scores! Below the glove of Jackson Duello. It only took a couple of minutes for the action to get going here in St. Peter's. And on senior night, the Lions are on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic shot, a breakaway opportunity for Figemeyer. Gets out in front, slips past the cracks of the defense, an offensive zone turnover for the Panthers, results in a goal for the Lions.
We're back underway just like that. 1-0 our score. Just 59 seconds in, a goal scored by Jack Figemeyer to make it 1-0. Shot put on here by Lucas Reed. It was deflected in front. Drew Turnbow clears it out of the defensive zone, and now Reed and the Lions will look to get another on here. Loses it, given up. Smith now tries clearing it out, but it goes right to Ryder Emenegger. He puts a shot on. Glove save made there by Duello.
Yeah, we're only at the 13:24 mark here in the first period. We've only been underway for about a minute and a half. Zumwalt East is having some serious pressure in the offensive zone and getting some really good looks.
No, it's going to be all about weathering the storm tonight if you're Fort Zumwalt North. Another shot put on there by Emenegger, and that one off of the pad. Fort Zumwalt North, David Rinke with it currently behind his goal to the corner, and now he'll send this one to the blue line. Hawkins now to Lipinski in the left face-off circle, loses control of it, and now North looking to exit. They do so. Phillips loses a handling on it, sent into the defensive zone of Fort Zumwalt East, where Emenegger will send it up. It'll wrap around the boards, and a dangerous deflection made there as it ended up right in front of the goal crease, and Dwello couldn't do anything about it. Fortunately, a defenseman able to get in the way of it. We moved the other way now. Gentile thought about putting one on. Instead, he tries to center it. It's blocked in front. Ends up with Drew Disco. Centered. LaRose. He'll reset on the blue line. Entering in now is Reed. Gives it off to Figemeyer. Shot put on. Save with the body for Dwello.
Figemeyer looking for that second one early, trying to get to a first period hat trick.
Reed to Geerling. Back to LaRose. He's looking to move forward now. Back behind the crease. He'll give it off to Geerling. Back to LaRose. Controlling the ice. Shot put on. He shoots and scores! Ben Geerling, his second goal of the season, doubles the lead. Less than 4 minutes in for the Lions, who are roaring early.
After another fantastic offensive zone pressure for the Lions, LaRose skates it to the top of the key, to the point. Sorry, Keys basketball term. To the top of the point. Picks his spot and goes high blocker side and puts it in the back of the net for the second goal of the game for the Lions.
Fort Zumwalt East leading now 2-0. Just over 3 minutes into the contest. An opportunity for another one. Reed, backhander, just wide right. Pheasant battling for it in the corner for the Lions. Now to the neutral zone. It's with Hawkins, gives it to Disco, sends it to the far side of the ice. Panthers trying to clear. Powers with it, entering into the neutral zone. They have numbers, gives it now to Christopher Hunt. Tried centering it back to Nolan Powers. Nothing was there. And now with some pace, Lions moving the other way. Addison had a chance to put one on with the backhand, but it was deflected. And now the Panthers will try to clear.
Big hit there in the corner.
Being battled for in the near corner of the Panthers' defensive zone. Powers gets bodied down behind the goal. Now being battled for in the far corner. Some physicality early in this one. Kept in that time by Hawkins. Disco with it. Chips it behind the goalie. Rinke will take it. Gives it off to Powers. Tries to chip it out. This time, Meyer able to do so successfully, where it's back to Fort Zumwalt East. Both teams will change, and now an opportunity for Disco to take advantage of it. Centers it, deflected in front. Meyer with it now. Moving into the Panthers' offensive zone. Riggle had a chance to put one on, but he whiffed on the one-timer. Lions with possession in their defensive zone along the near side. They chip it into the neutral zone where Turnbow for the Panthers will chip it back in behind the Fort Zumwalt East goal. Nice move put on there by LaRose to try and exit. He'll enter into the neutral zone for the Panthers. Now into the offensive zone. Gives it off to Gentile. Shot put on it. Score! Quentin Gentile, goal number 2 on the year. 3-0 with 9:33 to play in the first period.
On senior night, the senior forward gets one, the second of the year. A great move by LaRose behind his own cage leads to an excellent zone entry with a 4-on-2, maybe 3 if you want to count the third guy. Instead of taking the shot, he decides to pass it off to his teammate, and his teammate finds the back of the net with a fantastic look and a fantastic shot.
Quentin Gentile, the senior, with his second goal of the year. Coming just over 5 minutes into play. Things moving quickly here, and you can see it on the very scarce Fort Zumwalt North bench. Already just deflated, and you can't blame them. This early in, already trailing by 3 goals. The shots put on there by Figemeyer and the save made by Dwello.
Yeah, Dwello's had a tough night so far. He's faced a lot of shots, not a lot of offensive zone pressure for Zumwalt North. And with how short their bench is, if they don't get something going now, it's going to be really hard to claw back into this game.
Shots favoring East 7-1. Face off in the Lions offensive zone in the near circle. East wins it. Figemeyer tries centering, deflected in front, now battled for in the corner. Figemeyer comes out on top with it. Gives it to Lipinski on the far side at the right wing. Back behind the goal now. Figemeyer with it. Trying to wrap around. First shot not successful. Second shot not successful. And a great save made there on Lipinski there by Dwello. Still in the offensive zone.
Fantastic stick there by Turnbow for the Panthers.
Cleared out now. Pheasant with it. Shot put on. Goes wide. And it's cleared out. And this will be an icing on Fort Zumwalt North. So the Lions will get a change. Panthers unable to do so due to the icing. And an opportunity to tell you that the first period is brought to you by Vantage Credit Union, your financial partner for life in Metro St. Louis. Learn more at vcu.com. Lions win the faceoff in their offensive zone. Sent back behind the Panthers goal. Powers with the puck. Tries sending it forward, unable to do so, and a shot is put on, and it's covered by Dwello. So we'll have another faceoff, and the Panthers will get a change here.
It's really tough playing. They don't even have enough to have two full lines of forwards and two lines of defense, two pairs of defense. So really, really short bench. There's going to be some tired guys out there as this game goes on for Zumwalt North.
Gentile and Smith in the faceoff circle, and it's won by Fort Zumwalt North, but it was chipped out by Turnbow, and I guess they're saying that it was deflected.
Didn't look deflected to me.
No penalty called here. We keep moving. This time, face-off won by Fort Zumwalt East. Hawkins with it in the neutral zone, gives it to Disco, who sends it forward. David Rinke now.
Hawkins with a great recovery to prevent a one-on-none there, and a very good chance for Zumwalt North.
Lions with the puck at center ice. Emenegger chips it in behind the goal. Now sent down the near boards for Fort Zumwalt North. Nice job by Jason Hawkins. Keeps it in there. Rinke chips it forward, finds Riggle as they try to exit their zone here. Nice move made by Jack Phillips Jr. The D-man gets hit hard along the Fort Zumwalt East boards, and now the Lions with possession. They're going to look to exit on their own. Good cross-ice pass from Disco. Over to Addison. Shot deflected in front. Now the Panthers trying to clear it out. Unable to do so as it's sent back behind the goalie, Jackson Dwello. Over to Drew Turnbow, who sends it forward. Tried finding Phillips. Bad pass leads to continued possession and ozone time for Fort Zumwalt East. Lucas Reed with it on his stick now. Being battled for by both teams behind the north goal. Along the boards, directly behind the net, and Reed for East comes out on top with it over to the far corner. Turnbow able to force it away from him, but a bad pass leads to a turnover in the neutral zone. East with possession. LaRose along the near boards. Backhand, centers it. No one home, though. LaRose, boy, he is an excellent skater. Almost got to it after passing it. This one is cleared out. Icing called on Fort Zumwalt North. With 6:15 to play in the first period. 3-0 our score. Fort Zumwalt East leading their rivals, Fort Zumwalt North, on senior night. Goals so far coming from Jack Figemeyer, Ben Geerling, and the senior, Quentin Gentile. Shot deflected in front, goes into the gear of Gentile, I believe. And now the Panthers looking to exit. Good defense there by LaRose. Figemeyer now wrapping around his own net. Lions with possession, trying to exit their D zone. They do so. Gentile carries it into the offensive zone, gives it off to Lipinski. Turnover, though, leads to it back with the Panthers as they carry it into their offensive zone, but Figemeyer takes it away from Christopher Hunt. Still with it. Boy, what a speedy skater into the O zone. Forehand, deke, wrap around, shot put on, blocker save there, pad save by Duello. At the blue line, walking it in, shot put on that time by Pheasant. It goes wide. In the corner, Gentile battling for it. He'll send it along to Lipinski in the far corner. Rinke putting pressure on here. And East comes out on top with it. Shot put on by Figemeyer, was deflected. And now LaRose. Shot put on, blocker save made by Duello. The far corner, and it's cleared out by Rowan Meyer. And an icing is called with 4:42 to play in period number 1. The Mid-States Hockey Game of the Week is brought to you by Mattingly Lumber, Vantage Credit Union, Chicken and Pickle, and by the Watson Private Wealth Group at Stiefel. 3-0 our score. Shots favoring the home team, Fort Zumwalt East, 11-1. Reed and Smith in the faceoff circle, and the Panthers win it. Riggle.
Almost had a really good opportunity there off the faceoff.
Riggle will carry it into the neutral zone. They'll slow down, reset Turnbow. Over to Figemeyer. And it's sent back behind the net for Fort Zumwalt East. Disco. Cross ice pass over to the far side, and now entering into the offensive zone. That's Emmenegger. Shot put on, blocked in front. Emmenegger puts another one on, deflected by Turnbow. Battling for it in the near corner. Reed now with it at the blue line. Carrying it to the far side, shot put on. There was some screenage in front, but a good pad save made that time by Duello. He's been busy tonight. Puck sent into the neutral zone. East back with it as they reset, entering into the O zone. Taken away by North. Riggle over to Meyer. Now Turnbow. They send it into the neutral zone. Smith gives it right back to Emmenegger for Fort Zumwalt East. He walks in, shot put on, glove save made by Duello with 3:10 to play. Vantage Credit Union wants to give you a little financial boost. Right now, they're offering you $250 to join as a new member. Just open a new checking account and use promo code STL250. It is that easy. Whether you're saving for hockey tickets, gear, or your next financial goal, Vantage is here to help. Don't wait. Visit vcu.com/checking today. Shot put on. Oh, it somehow stayed out. Ben Geerling had a wide open net with Duello on the ground, this time centered in front. And it was deflected, and now numbers for Fort Zumwalt North if they want them. LaRose takes it away from Rowan Meyer. Chips it forward now to Geerling, and they're out of it just like that with numbers. Gentile sends it forward. Was trying to find Siler Oldfield, but the pass was just a bit too hot, and now moving the other way. Powers was trying to find Hunt for Fort Zumwalt North. The pass was a little bit too hot. Ends up being an icing with 2:24 to play in the first period. Hunter?
If you're Davenport, are you getting bored back there? Facing like one shot.
Oh, look! Just take a look at him right now. He is skating around his goal. I have to imagine just to try and stay sharp.
Goalies love action, man. They live for it. It's the weirdest thing because the more shots you face, the more opportunities there are for goals. But they live for it.
The more it forces you to have to stay focused as well. You hear goaltenders sometimes discuss how they feel like they're in maybe a little more of a dangerous spot. Shot put on by Simon goes wide right. They're in a little bit more of a dangerous spot when they aren't getting a lot of shots put on because maybe they're not as mentally sharp.
And they're not as loose, too.
Smith entering into the Panthers' O-zone, has it taken away by Reed. Nice job there. He chips it forward with the backhand to Figemeyer. Passes to the far side into the neutral zone, entering into the O-zone. Fezzik lays it off. Shot put on by that time. It was Lipinski. Wide right. Now Simon from the blue line. Shot put on. And a blocker save.
Figemeyer has been searching for that second one. He's put a lot of shots on net so far.
Pheasant along the boards on the far side. Has it taken away. Riggle tries to clear. Stays in the offensive zone for Fort Zumwalt East. Reed. Shot on. Glove save. Really nice save there. Just an open opportunity. Open path cleared way for Pheasant and him against the goalie, and that's a shot that earlier in the period Duello has gotten beat on a couple times.
That was going in, and Duello saw that one all the way, was able to snag it with his glove. He's kind of settled in outside of those first three very quick fire goals. He's settled in nicely facing the amount of shots that he's had.
Allowed a goal below the glove and two above the blocker's shoulder. Puck being battled for here along the far boards. East comes out on top with it. Shot too high. LaRose with it in his near corner. Dipsy Doodle puts a shot on, and it's saved off of the pads of Duello with under a minute to play in the first period. 51.9 to play.
LaRose has been playing fantastically, and that's something we talked about before the game began, was Zumwalt East's ability to have guys up and down their roster score for them. They've had 3 goals. LaRose was his 3rd goal of the season. Gentile his 2nd, and Figemeyer his 2nd as well. So really, really focusing in on the team aspect. You know, when all of them are clicking, then the team's on a good pace.
Fort Zumwalt North wins the face-off at center ice, but they give it up once entering their offensive zone. They have not had a lot of O-zone time tonight. LaRose, shot put on, deflected. He gets the rebound and puts another one on, goes wide right. He has it back behind the north net. Still holding on to it, carrying it to the far corner. Gets hit. Still holding it on his stick, and now battled for in front of the Fort Zumwalt North bench, and they remain with it. North exits their D zone. As the clock runs down, the buzzer goes off, and the first period has come to a conclusion. 3-0, our score after 15 minutes of play. It was all Fort Zumwalt East. Hunter?
Yeah, absolutely. Fort Zumwalt East came out firing. They are leading in the shot department 19-1. That is a lot of shots on net. That's a lot of pressure that Duello has had to face tonight. As this game progresses, we talked about the short bench. We're going to have to see how that affects them.
Quick pause. When we return, more action for you right here. MidStates Hockey Association Game of the Week on Lou Information Station.
Money decisions aren't always easy. That's why Vantage delivers confidence, services, and support to reach your financial goals. With a Vantage checking account, you'll enjoy convenient account access with powerful digital banking and branches across the St. Louis metro. Plus, benefits like 30,000 no-fee ATMs nationwide, cell phone protection, roadside assistance, and shopping discounts. We put you first because Vantage is truly your credit union. Get to know us at vcu.com or a branch in your community. Membership eligibility required. Federally insured by NCUA.
Second period is brought to you by the Watson Private Wealth Group at Steeple, set to get underway here in just a couple of moments. 3-0 our score. Fort Zumwalt East leading their rivals Fort Zumwalt North Lucas Reed wins the faceoff for the Lions. And now Hawkins will set up for them. Gives it to Oldfield at center ice. He chips it in. It's given to Fort Zumwalt North. Chips it forward back to Oldfield. Battled for along the near boards. Hawkins ends up with it. And now he'll carry it into the neutral zone, back to the defensive zone where the Lions will reset. Oldfield. Now Meyer with it for the Panthers. Back to the Lions. Pheasant to Hawkins. Phillips for the Panthers, holding on to it now. Gives it off to Riggle. Centers it. No one there was trying to find Phillips. Moving the other way. Meyer with it on his stick. Oh, bad pass. Shot put on. And it's saved in the pad. Ends up in the equipment.
That seemed like a pretty early whistle. I saw that puck on the ice in front of that, in front of his left pad. Refs blow the whistle, so we're going to go to a face-off here.
They catch a little bit of a break.
Especially with that turnover. That was a really bad spot for a turnover. He's able to walk it right into the slot and take a shot.
Yeah, tried using the boards and got a bad bounce off of them. Ended up right on the stick of a Lion. Fortunately, the score remains 3-0 for the Panthers. They're trying to get it out of their zone. They do so. Emenegger ends up with it in his defensive zone. Sends it forward. Unable to find a teammate, so Meyer will pass it to Turnbow in his own zone for the Panthers. Now to Powers. Up to Xander Jordan, who sends it in behind the net for Fort Zumwalt East. Now Powers with it on his stick to Jordan. Now in the neutral zone, Fort Zumwalt East with it to Lipinski. Begemeyer, and a whistle is blown. 2 players down in the Fort Zumwalt East defensive zone. Looked like Quentin Gentile and Xander Jordan had gotten tangled up, and this will result in a face-off at center ice.
We have not seen a penalty yet tonight. Is that a factor of them letting them play? Is that a factor of there hasn't been much to, nitpick tonight?
Well, I'll say this. In a game like this where the possession in large part has been in favor of Fort Zumwalt East, very easy when the time of possession is so high for one team for it to result in penalties from the team that is constantly defending their own net. That has not been the case so far. So kudos to Fort Zumwalt North for still playing clean despite chasing the game a lot tonight. Speaking of Fort Zumwalt North, Drew Turnbow, the defenseman, with it on his stick, gives it to Sebastian Smith, chips it forward, and to the defenseman David Simon, carries it in, walking it in, and an offsides call as he was trying to enter into the Lions' offensive zone. I believe that's the first offsides we've had tonight.
As it has, there have not been a lot of whistles. Makes it hard to get those ad reads in sometimes.
The Mid-States Hockey Game of the Week, speaking of, is brought to you by Mattingly Lumber, Vantage Credit Union, Chicken and Pickle, and by the Watson Private Wealth Group at Stiefel.
But very, very clean bench. And when it's a game like this and you're on a short bench and you're defending a lot, that's when you really start to see, a lot of penalties, pile up on your side of the ice. And very good job to stay clean and do their best as they are battling a really tough matchup tonight.
Hawkins shot put on, pad save made by Duello. We've said that a lot tonight. 22 shots through the first period plus for Fort Zumwalt East. Hawkins tries putting one on. He whiffed on that one. And now numbers for the Panthers, perhaps the first time tonight. Powers to the far corner. Not able to get to it before the Lions' defense. And now they'll try to exit the zone. Kept in by Jordan, but he chips it right into the equipment of Disco. who sends it forward for the Lions. Back to the defense for Fort Zumwalt North. Christopher Hunt tries sending it into his offensive zone. It deflects off of LaRose and into the bench. So both teams will get a change, and we'll have a face-off at center ice.
With a name like Disco, you got to have a fantastic goal celebration, right?
We'll just have to wait and see, I guess. Disco on the year, 3 goals in his 15 games played. Face-off won by Fort Zumwalt North. They have been pretty solid in that department tonight. One of the few areas that have been even in tonight's game. Sent along the near boards into the defensive zone for Fort Zumwalt East. Pheasant. Oldfield with it now, entering into the O zone for the Lions. Chips it in, deflected off the backboards. And North trying to clear, unable to do so. Emmenegger with it along the far corner, puts a big hit on a Panther. Smith tries clearing with the backhand. Now Phillips for the Panthers. Sent behind the net to the far side. Emmenegger with it for the Lions. Taken away by Sebastian Smith. Now forward to Andrew Riggle. Into the neutral zone for the Panthers. 1-on-2. Riggle will put one on. Easy pad save, though, for Austin Davenport. Just 2 saves tonight on senior night. That's all the work he's had to do. We're going to have an icing the other way, the first one of the night for Fort Zumwalt East.
Yeah, just senior night. You're looking forward to it. You're looking forward to a rivalry matchup. Not a lot of action for Davenport tonight. Gets his second shot on goal that he's faced here 5 minutes into the second period.
Fort Zumwalt East chasing Duchesne in the St. Charles East Division, 3 points behind them coming into play tonight, so a win would get them within 1. Figemeyer had the first goal of the night, looking to put one on here at the point. Good pass to LaRose, shoots and scores! Grayson LaRose, his 3rd of the season. What a find from Figemeyer.
Fantastic shot by LaRose. Figemeyer looks like he's going to take the shot, skates it in to the slot, decides to dish it off, holds on a little bit too long to take the shot, doesn't see a clear lane, passes it wide open on the near side of the north net. LaRose right there, able to put it in the back.
Off the restart, 4-0 our score. Grayson LaRose scoring the 4th goal of the night for Fort Zumwalt East. 5 minutes in to the second period. Icing here on Fort Zumwalt East, so now we'll have a face-off in the Panthers O-zone. In the near corner. Lions win it. Pheasant wraps it around the boards. Intercepted by Turnbow. He enters into his O-zone and a whistle blown. Offsides called on the Panthers.
And here comes the really important part. You're not quite to halfway yet, but once you get halfway in this game, those bodies start to tire up for Zumwalt North. How will they respond? Can they start to get some pressure of their own? They've held Zumwalt East out of their zone fairly well this period compared to last, but obviously the score does not reflect that.
Figemeyer with it at center ice. Tried deking Riggle, unable to do so. He sends it into the Lions defensive zone. Pheasant with it. Gives it to Lipinski, entering into the zone. Shot put on, pad save. Riggle will clear. Does so successfully. No icing called as the puck makes its way behind the Fort Zumwalt East net. Pheasant with it, entering into the neutral zone. Now his offensive zone lost control of the puck. Powers is able to get a stick in there, and it ends up with the Panthers. Turnbow gets hit as he tries to send it forward. Powers comes in and has it taken away from him just before he's able to get to the neutral zone. It's sent back in.
Getting a little bit more rough here as this game progresses.
Pheasant to Simon. Shot goes high, and the net comes loose. Whistle blown with 7:56 to play.
Couple of big hits, couple of extracurriculars after said big hits during that possession for Zumwalt East. So maybe a little bit more intensity getting riled up here as this game progresses on.
Face off in the Fort Zumwalt East offensive zone along the far side. Won by the Lions. Immediately, though, given to the Panthers. Xander Jordan gives it off to Powers in the near corner. Wraps it around the boards. Figemeyer able to keep it in. No, that's Emmenegger, and he puts a shot on. Guess what, baby? He scores. 5-0 with 7.5 to play in period number 2.
We are looking at a beatdown here at St. Peter's Recplex tonight. Zumwalt East, and it has been all Zumwalt East. Emmenegger skates up to the point and just unleashes a nasty wrist shot from the point. Beats Duello for the 5th Lions goal of the night.
5-0. Goal scored by Ryder Emmenegger with 7:35 to play in the second period. Lions win the faceoff. Panthers now with the puck. Smith with a turnover in this defensive zone. Now Christopher Addison shot on, glove saved, and it's covered by Duello.
As this game progresses, expect to see maybe a little bit of frustration out of Zumwalt North. They're struggling on the season. They're struggling here tonight. It's a rivalry game. They don't want to just let them come in here and walk all over them. So expect a little bit more physicality as this game progresses, and maybe a little bit more extracurriculars that get people in some trouble.
Face-off one on the restart by Fort Zumwalt East. It's chipped in by North, and now heading the other way, LaRose entering into his offensive zone for the Lions. Fakes the give off to Oldfield. Keeps with it, gives it to Hawkins at the blue line. Wrister put on, it goes wide left, and it will carry into the neutral zone where the Lions will reset here. Hawkins forward, trying to find Oldfield. Instead, Reed ends up with it. Backhanded pass to no man's land. Recovered by LaRose. Now over to Oldfield. Shot on, wide left. Perhaps deflected by Duello. Into the netting behind the net. Or the goal. And we'll have a stoppage and a face-off. Our MidStates Game of the Week is brought to you in part by Watson Private Wealth Group at Stiefel. Joe salutes all of the players and coaches in tonight's game. For more information, call Joe Watson at 314-872-8900 or search Joe Watson at Stiefel.com. Xander Jordan chipping it in behind the East net. Battled for and won by the Lions. Emmenegger, the most recent goal scorer, sends it forward to Figemeyer. He also has a goal tonight. He has it behind the north goal. Tries centering it. Deflected in front. Great save made off the shot. That time by Gentile. Now Lipinski with it. Tries centering it. Deflected off the skate of Powers. Hunt. Powers ends up with it for North. Behind the east goal. Behind the north goal. Sends it forward, tries finding Jordan instead. Back to Fort Zumwalt East. Emmenegger with an absolute missile. That's off the blocker. Gentile from the blue line. Wrister put on, deflected in front, and into the netting once again. That time that was Figemeyer that last touched it. So we'll have a face-off here with 5 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the second period. In the offensive zone for Fort Zumwalt East, the far circle. 5-0 our score. East leading North in this rivalry game. Shots favoring the Lions 28-2. Just over halfway through the contest. Face-off won by East. Another shot deflected. This one ends up bouncing at the base of the boards behind the net. Shot put on by Simon. Deflected away. Puck being battled for behind the net. Ends up in the neutral zone now. East carrying it into their own D zone. Forward, Reed to Addison. Clean entrance into the offensive zone. Addison wrapping around with it. Tries centering it. Finds Reed. Not able to put any sort of velo on that shot as he only got a piece of it, and it easily is covered by Dwello. We'll have another face-off in the offensive zone of Fort Zumwalt East.
And even though I said it earlier in the period here, it is shifted on me. Zumwalt North has now fallen back to where they were in the first period of the pressure surmounting them in their offensive zone. It wasn't quite as high at the beginning of the period, despite the first goal of the period, but it's really picked up since then.
East wins the faceoff. Simon to LaRose, wrapping around. Nice move. Shot put on. Pad save made there by Dwello. Big hit in front of the student section, and now a shot put on. No, deflected in front by Fort Zumwalt North. LaRose centers it, finds Simon. Shot goes wide right. Gets his own rebound. Big hit put on by Fort Zumwalt North. That was Turnbow on Simon, and now they'll exit their defensive zone. Big hit put on along the near boards. Getting a little more physical here in the last couple of seconds. Christopher Hunt, nice move into the offensive zone, but just ran into too many defensive men for the Lions, and now they have numbers going the other way. Reed, shot on, glove save, and it's covered by Dwello as both teams get a change with 3:39 remaining.
Little time remaining here in the second period, but it is very apparent that East came out on a mission tonight. 31 shots on net, and we've still got just under 4 minutes to play here in the second period.
Lions win the faceoff. Shot is deflected in front by a Panther. Back to Gentile. Hawkins to Gentile. Along the blue line, Quentin Gentile able to just keep it in. Over to Ryan Pheasant, walking it in. Shot on, wide left. Phillips gets to it first for Fort Zumwalt North, and now with it along the near boards, Jack Phillips Jr., 2-on-1, and they had an opportunity there to do something, and he took a shot pretty early, and it was an easy pad save for Davenport.
When your shots are coming as low as 1.5 per period, you really got to take quality shots and get good looks and not rush it and try and pick your spot fine to try and get on the board here.
5-0 our score. 3 minutes to play in the second period. Shot put on by Meyer, but it ends up going into the blocker of Davenport. Probably his best save of the night. He's only had 4. So we'll have a face-off in the Panthers O-zone. It's won by the Panthers. Powers. Bad pass, and it's taken away. Going the other way. Figemeyer chips it in. Wrapped around now by the Panthers. Lipinski in the far corner with it. Gives it to Reed. Shot on! He scores! Lucas Reed makes it 6-0.
Bouncing puck on the boards, bounces over and gets onto the stick of Reed. A nice little move, just a quick forehand, backhand, forehand, and finds it in the back of the net on the blocker side for the 6th goal of the night on the 32nd shot of the night for the Lions.
Lucas Reed, his 4th goal of the season, makes it now 6-0. It has been a bloodbath here in St. Peter's tonight. Face-off won by Fort Zumwalt North off the restart. Meyer with it in the near corner. Backhands it forward along the near boards. Kept in by Emmenegger. He puts one on, deflected by Powers off of the shin. No way that could have felt good. Jordan chips it into his offensive zone. Hunt is there. Shot put on. It was sent behind Davenport in the goal crease, but no one was there on the other side. Because of the angle, it did not go in. Unfortunate events there for Fort Zumwalt North. The other way, an icing called.
Would have been a fantastic opportunity there for Zumwalt North, somebody who's home. That was Davenport was going to stop the puck, and one of his defensemen got in there and tried to keep the play alive and stuck it out back into the corner right to a Panther who fires one back towards the net. And if somebody's home looking for a bounce, looking for a redirect to get into the net and get on the board here as the final 2 minutes are underway here in the second period.
Minute 57, face-off in the Panthers' O-zone is won by the Lions. And now Disco walking it in. Shot put on and a save with the body for Duello, who is 27 of 33 on the night. His save percentage on the year is 80%. With the amount of shots that he faces, I mean, he's doing everything that he can back there.
It's really difficult to stay on your feet and not let those pucks in when you are bombarded for the first 30 minutes of the game as it has been.
LaRose with it at the blue line, walking it in. Now behind the net for the Lions. Gives it off. Addison holding on to it with the backhand. Has it taken away. Battled for along the near boards now. And it ends up with Phillips, who doesn't get enough on the pass to clear it out of the zone. Now a shot put on, deflected. That was Disco that time with the attempt. And now an opportunity going the other way. Turnover, Phillips. Blown tire, unable to take advantage of the chance. And now numbers the other way. Addison puts a shot on. It goes high. Hit in front of the student section again. Physicality tonight for both teams has been pretty solid. Emmenegger, shot on. It goes high again. You can most certainly tell that they are targeting up high on Duello. That is where they've had the most success tonight.
Their captain said it in the pregame interview, shoot, shoot, shoot. That's exactly what the Lions have done.
They shoot again there, and that one goes wide. 20 seconds to play in the second period. Emmenegger with it at the blue line. Richter deflected in front. Save made by Duello. 10 seconds, 9 seconds. And puck in the far corner for the Lions. Emmenegger with it at the blue line. Shot on, glove save with 1 second remaining. They let the clock trail down. And that'll be the conclusion of period number 2. 3 goals scored in the first period for the Lions. 3 more in the second. It's been all Fort Zumwalt East in this first matchup between these two rivals of 2026.
Money decisions aren't always easy. That's why Vantage delivers confidence, services, and support to reach your financial goals. With a Vantage checking account, you'll enjoy convenient account access with powerful digital banking and branches across the St. Louis metro. Plus, benefits like 30,000 no-fee ATMs nationwide, cell phone protection, roadside assistance, and shopping discounts. We put you first because Vantage is truly your credit union. Get to know us at vcu.com or a branch in your community. Membership eligibility required. Federally insured by NCUA.
Looking for a perfect spot after the big game? Head to Chicken and Pickle St. Charles. It's not one thing, it's everything. We've got it all. Watch parties on the big screen, family-friendly events, weekend brunch, and of course, pickleball for every age and skill level. Whether you're a hockey parent, player, coach, or just here for the fun, there's something for everyone at Chicken and Pickle. Eat, play, cheer, and connect all in one place. Visit us at Chicken and Pickle St. Charles, where it's not one thing, it's everything.
You want a backyard paradise next summer? Talk to Merrimack Pools and Outdoors now. No surprises, great design, straight pricing, and you could be swimming by Memorial Day. Hit SplashSTL.com. Merrimack Pools and Outdoors, turning big Griswold dreams into real St. Louis backyards for 25 years.
We love this game, and we noticed something missing. Youth hockey families needed a space that's real, supportive, and actually about their experience.
Not just the AAA highlight reel, we're talking B and C, A-level players, first-time hockey parents, and every kid grinding to get better.
We're here to share stories, learn from each other, and have a blast doing it.
No drama, no negativity, just love for the game.
We're growing the game from the ground up, one episode at a time.
Too many men on the mic. Hockey is more fun the better you get at it.
It's the Mid-States Club Hockey Association Game of the Week on the Lou Information Station. Ethan Hanford, Hunter Mulholland. It's been a beatdown here in St. Peters. Fort Zumwalt East leading against their rivals, Fort Zumwalt North, 6-0.
Oh, we're going. I was going to say something, but nope.
We're
Refs had
going.
a different idea.
We're going indeed. And off the restart, Fort Zumwalt North looking to get something going here. Rowan Meyer chips it in. Shot put on. Pad save made by Davenport. Their fifth of the night. And now Gentile with it for the Lions. Kept in by the Panthers.
Big hit there by Meyer.
Back to Pheasant. Sends it forward now. 2-on-1. Gearling. Backhand pass trying to find Oldfield, but it's taken away by Hunt. With it on his stick. Sends it forward to Riggle. Entering into the O zone. Still with it now. The captain for Fort Zumwalt North. Deflected out into the neutral zone. Goes right to the glove of Pheasant. He chips it forward. Now Turnbow for Fort Zumwalt North with it. Gives it to Hunt. Now Jordan. Big hit put on there. That time by Gentile. Gets back to Jordan. Shot on. Goes high. Gets it back on the rebound. And nothing there. And Gentile has it now for Fort Zumwalt East to the near side. Gives it to Ryan Pheasant. Into the defensive zone for Fort Zumwalt North. Smith has it to the far side. Enters into the neutral zone. Rinke into the O zone. Shot on. Pad save. Unable to cover. And now East moving the other way. Lucas Reed, one of the 6 goal scorers tonight for the line. Sends it forward to Lipinski. Lays it off to Figemeyer. And he runs out of room there. Jordan now for the Panthers. Able to get it out of their defensive zone. Now to center ice where Powers sends it back to Rinke. Rinke forward to Smith. And it's sent forward into the Lions defensive zone where they'll look to get something going here. LaRose walking it in. Shot put on. Save with the stick for Duello. Centers it. Figemeyer. Save with the body.
I just saw a second puck fall.
And I think there must have been one stuck in the netting back there.
I think the other one took its place in the back of the net.
The third period is brought to you by Chicken and Pickle St. Charles, the perfect spot after the big game. Chicken and Pickle St. Charles. It's not one thing, it's everything.
Never know what you're going to see in these mid-states games. You get a good game, you get a blowout, you get 2 pucks on the ice.
Face-off won by Fort Zumwalt North. They give it immediately to the Lions. Addison with it on his stick. It's deflected into the netting. So we'll have another face-off.
So the referees retrieve that puck. The clock is not stopping, so let's hit the running clock here tonight.
Face-off won by Fort Zumwalt East. Shot goes wide from the blue line by Emmenegger. Addison with it behind the boards. Tried finding Disco instead. Passes it to Emmenegger, but the pass too hot, so it goes into the neutral zone. And now Fort Zumwalt North with it. Shot put on from the neutral zone by Rowan Meyer. Easy save by Davenport. He dishes it off to Pheasant, who has it behind his own net. Davenport trying to screen him. Referee tells him to stop that. He does so immediately. Pass sent forward now to the opposite side of the ice. Powers for North with it. Passes it to the near side. Tries finding Meyer. Deflected by Pheasant. And now chipped back into the defensive zone of Fort Zumwalt North. David Rinke carrying it on his stick. Passes it forward. Hits the skate of Disco. He has it at center ice. Chips it in. Rinke once again with it. Just about 10 minutes to play in this one. As Hunter said, running clock. And another bad bounce. That time almost got the best of Duello. Frustrated by not playing that the best. That time it didn't bite him, though. Rinke walks it into his offensive zone. It's deflected on the shot by Pheasant, who's been very sharp tonight. He's played a very good game. Hasn't let much by him. And we're going to get an icing on the other end. The Mid-States Hockey Game of the Week brought to you by Mattingly Lumber, Vantage Credit Union, Chicken and Pickle, and by the Watson Private Wealth Group at Stiefel. 6-0 our score. Fort Zumwalt East leading Fort Zumwalt North. Running clock, under 9.5 to play here in the third period. Face off here in the Panthers' offensive zone on the near side. It's won by the Lions as LaRose will carry it behind his own net. He'll exit his defensive zone. Reed chips it into the O zone where Powers for the Panthers will carry it. Evades Reed, still with it on his stick. Gets to center ice where he's knocked over. It's taken away. Being battled for along the blue line. Won by Fort Zumwalt North. Turnbow with it now at center ice. Carries it into his offensive zone where he's met by Reed along the boards. Still with it. Still with it. Finally puts one on. A weak backhanded shot. But kudos to Drew Turnbow for finding a way through all of that to keep it on his stick and somehow get something on net.
Yeah, he was weaving through the Lions defense and doing all that he can here late. You know he's tired. It's late. You're on a short bench. It's a frustrating game. Just trying to find anything positive to come out of this game for his team.
Face-off won by Fort Zumwalt East. Goes to Rinke. And now to Figemeyer. No one in between him and Duello. Backhanded shot. He scores! Seven goals have been scored tonight for Fort Zumwalt East. Jack Figemeyer has scored the first, and now he scored the seventh.
A big showing tonight for the Lions. Figemeyer gets out again on a breakaway. This time goes with the backhand to beat Duello on the far side, on the glove side of Duello. Puts it in the back of the net. It is in full-on rout tonight here at St. Peter's.
Clock continues to run. 7 minutes to play in the third period. Have to imagine that for Fort Zumwalt North, they are just waiting for that clock to tick and hoping it doesn't get any worse. Sure would be a nice consolation if they could put one in the back of the net. Riggle had an opportunity there. He instead tried to center it. It was deflected away. Opportunity not completely gone. They still have it in their offensive zone, battled for along the near corner. Won by Turnbow. He puts one on, deflected. And then Riggle puts the rebound on, and it's saved by Davenport. 9 for 9 tonight, and shots on goal.
The Lions are looking a little bit less aggressive on the puck when it comes to, trying to hold and sustain pressure in the offensive zone. They've got a big lead. Let their goaltender work a little bit here on the senior night.
Face-off won by the Lions. Pheasant sends it up to Addison. Good exit over to Reed. 2-on-1 here for Fort Zumwalt East. Shot put on, pad saved by Dwello. That shot came from Addison. He has it along the far boards in front of the Panthers bench. Has it taken away from him, but it goes right back to the Lions. This time it's Drew Disco. Turnbow fighting for it along the near boards. Big hit put on there. That time it was Christopher Addison putting the hit on Drew Turnbow. Puck is now behind the Fort Zumwalt East net, and it's put on goal. Whoa, big cross check there by the alternate, Christopher Hunt.
Frustration
for the Panthers. Yeah, the first time we've seen a little bit of frustration boil over.
Yeah, it's late here. You're being outshot nearly 4 times the amount that you put on that. Just a frustrating night here for the the Panthers. I keep doing it. I'm so used to seeing Zumwalt West in general. The Panthers, it's a frustrating night, and Hunt lets a little bit out.
Offsides called on Christopher Hunt for Fort Zumwalt North. The visitors' side not too happy about the call. It's been a frustrating night for the Panthers, as mentioned. Under 4 to play. Looking for the perfect spot after the big game? Head to Chicken and Pickle St. Charles. It's not one thing, it's everything. We've got it all. Watch parties on the big screen, family-friendly events, weekend brunch, and, of course, pickleball for every age and skill level. Hunt receives it in his own zone. And now LaRose for the Lions with it. Carries it himself across center ice into his offensive zone. Tries centering it, but it's deflected off of Meyer. Turnbow with it in the near corner. Sends it down the ice. Deflects off of LaRose, and Hunt will carry it in his own zone. Centers it. Opportunity there to put one on. Deflected in front. Sebastian Smith had a great opportunity twice to score for the first time for Fort Zumwalt North. He's unable to capitalize on either of them.
Some words being exchanged between LaRose and Smith here as this game is ticking down.
Under 3 minutes to play. Clock continues to run. Whether you're a hockey parent, player, coach, or just here for the fun, there's something for everyone at Chicken and Pickle. Eat, play, cheer, and connect all in one place. Visit us at Chicken and Pickle St. Charles, where it's not one thing, it's everything. Xander Jordan enters into the offensive zone for the Panthers, has it taken away, moving the other way. Lipinski and a couple of other players battling for it at center ice. Ends up being chipped into the Lions' defensive zone. Ends up with the Panthers. Smith chasing Pheasant, who has it currently on his stick. Gives it to David Simon. Back to Pheasant. He'll carry along the boards to Christopher Addison, who sends it along the near boards. Lucas Reed, numbers for the Lions. 2-on-1, shot put on. Wide left there by Reed.
Tried to attack that high blocker side once again on Dwello.
That's been the kryptonite.
That's been where the goals have come for the Lions, is on that side, and especially high in general. The high glove side has been beat a couple times as well.
Whistle blown, offsides call here on Fort Zumwalt East. Clock continues to tick down. 1:35 to play. Face-off won by Fort Zumwalt North. Powers with it in his D zone. Tries finding Meyer, who sends it forward. Now Pheasant for the Lions, holding on to it. Gives it to Simon on the far side. Now Figemeyer into his offensive zone. Shot put on from the blue line. Blocker save. And now Meyer for the Panthers sends it up to the captain, Riggle. Tries finding Powers. Unable to keep it on his stick. Now Riggle. Tried putting a shot on there. Unable to do so. Puck in the neutral zone. Sent now into the Lions defensive zone. 40 seconds to play in our Mid-States game of the week. Chipped forward. Powers with it for the Panthers now. Figemeyer into his offensive zone for the Lions. Carrying it up along the near boards. Taken away by Powers for the Panthers. Sends it to the far side. Riggle. Back to Powers. 10 seconds to play. Powers still with it. Gives it back to Rinke. And the clock will tick down. The buzzer sounds, and that concludes the contest.
And a cross-check there at the end by Hunt thrown against one of the members of the Lions. Looks like the referees are telling him.
Looks like they're going to send him off the ice early. He will not go through the handshake line. We mentioned that in the last couple of minutes after the whistle had a cross-check, and then he just had one there again. But it doesn't change the final score. If anything, it accentuates it. 7-0, Fort Zumwalt East defeating their rivals, Fort Zumwalt North, in what was an absolute beatdown tonight. Hunter?
Yeah, absolutely. Just all around, Zumwalt East looked fantastic tonight. They were all over the offensive zone, controlling the puck, controlling the O-zone, and giving a very good offensive showing as they go down the stretch run here and trying to position themselves for a chance at a run for a championship.
It didn't take long for the action to get going tonight. 59 seconds in, Grayson LaRose would feed Jack Figemeyer, and he would score to make the score 1-0. Just 2.5 minutes later, Grayson LaRose, he already had an assist in his pocket. Well, he would get the action, or he would continue the scoring action when he would get fed by David Simon to make the score 2-0. With 9.5 to play in the first period, Quentin Gentile would score with assists coming from Grayson LaRose and Siler Oldfield. The score after one period of play was 3-0. LaRose would tack in his second of the evening with 9:33 to play in the second period. 2 minutes later, Ryder Emenegger would score with the assist coming from Drew Disco to make it 5-0. With 2.5 minutes remaining in the second period, Lucas Reed would score, and the assist coming from Caden Lipinski. That made the score 6-0, and then Jack Figemeyer would score the final goal of the evening with the assist once again coming from Lipinski to make the final score 7-0. 38 shots on goal for Fort Zumwalt East, 9 on goal for Fort Zumwalt North. So we look at the final numbers here. Notable performances from Grayson LaRose, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points in total. Jack Figemeyer, 2 goals, an assist, 3 points in total. 2 assists coming from Lipinski. Lucas Reed, a goal and an assist, 2 points in total as well. A night where head coach Brian Lowry should be very satisfied with the performance. This is a game that they were expected to win. And we talked going in, Hunter, about games like this. You have to be careful. It's a rivalry game. You cannot overestimate or underestimate your opponent. And they didn't do that tonight. They took care of business here in St. Peter's.
Yeah, last week we saw that rivalry matchup, and it definitely seemed that Parkway Central underestimated Parkway South a little bit last week, and as Parkway South came away with the win. But that was not the story tonight in this rivalry matchup, in this mismatch. Zumwalt East came out firing on all cylinders early and looking to put an emphasis on this game. And I believe you mentioned that they still have to play again.
They will indeed play in 2 weeks. As we look at the upcoming schedule for both of these teams, Fort Zumwalt North will be back out on the ice tomorrow night facing off against John Burroughs with a 9:20 puck drop. And Fort Zumwalt East will also be back on the ice tomorrow facing off against Timberland. Let's take a look quickly at the standings as well. With the win, Fort Zumwalt East to 8-7-2 on the year, 13 points, just 1 point back of Duchesne, who is 8-1 on the year. And Fort Zumwalt North's struggles continue, tied for last place with Fort Zumwalt West with the loss, North 2-13-0. A huge thank you to our sponsors. The Mid-States Hockey Game of the Week has been brought to you by Mattingly Lumber Vantage Credit Union, Chicken and Pickle, and by the Watson Private Wealth Group at Stiefel. Our next Mid-States Game of the Week will feature Holt and Liberty on Tuesday, January 20th, with a broadcast start time of 7:50 p.m. on YouTube and on 590 KLIS. For the complete schedule and game times, visit luinfo.com. Hunter, any final comments before we sign off?
This is going to be a very fun matchup next show, I guess, technically. I was going to say next week, but it's not technically next week. It's on a Tuesday the following week. Be a fun matchup, another rivalry matchup. We love picking the rivalry games. There's a lot on the line in those. So very, very big matchups coming up down the stretch. And then we're going to hopefully be with you guys for the postseason as well. So looking forward to that as this Mid-States season wraps up.
Well, that concludes our coverage of tonight's contest. Final score, Fort Zumwalt East 7, Fort Zumwalt North 0, in an absolute beatdown here at the St. Peter's Recplex. We appreciate all of you for listening or watching this one. From Hunter Mulholland, I'm Ethan Hannaford saying so long from St. Peter's, Missouri on the Lou Information Station.